Welcome to DRC Live, powered in part by the Denton Record-Chronicle and Classic of Denton.
Hello everyone, I'm Lucinda Breeding, the features editor at the Denton Record-Chronicle.
And I'm Jenna Duncan. I'm the business editor over at the Denton Record-Chronicle, and this is our weekly show, DRC Live.
Yay!
So, third week in a row, we're going to dive right into Denton Black Film Festival. I know we've been hyping it a lot.
We have been.
And some other shows have been too. But Cindy did kind of a deeper dive than some of you might have done on your own. So she was going to talk about some of the films you've seen so far.
This is, we all know by now that Denton Black Film Festival is more than a film festival. Mm-hmm. They have music, they have spoken word, they have a whole roster of people and a whole schedule of panels and workshops. So if you are, interested in the film industry almost in any kind of way, you can get something out of this film festival. But it is a film festival.
Yes.
And, the Denton Black Film Festival's mission is to entertain, educate, and inspire. Mm-hmm. And myself and another Denton writer named Stanton Brasher spent some time watching some of the films that are on the program's schedule for this year. And what I thought I would do is just tell you a little bit about some of these films today. And I thought I would kind of match them to that mission. So let's start with entertain. This festival will open tomorrow. That is Thursday night, with the 50th anniversary screening of a film called Imitation of Life. Now, I had heard of this film before. Mm-hmm. It was released in the late 1950s. It stars Lana Turner in the lead role of Laura Meredith, and it introduced an actress named Juanita Moore, who's stellar, who plays her friend and eventually domestic sort of servant, Annie Johnson. And it really is the story of two young widows with children who meet at a point in their lives where they're both really, really trying to make things work and make ends meet. And they find that by coming together, they can live more easily and give their children a life. Well, Laura Meredith is this aspiring actress and model in New York City, and it just so happens she gets her big break. This is in the late 50s, so America is in that slow march toward desegregation. We're not at the Voting Rights Act in 64 yet, but we are at this moment where public accommodations are integrating, but there's still a profound and powerful racism operating in all of American life.
Yeah.
But these two women learn to help each other, and as Laura's career takes off, she's really pulled toward the limelight, and that serves to separate her not just from her young daughter Susie, but from the very real trials and struggles that already separate Annie from Laura. But the real crux of this story is also about Annie's daughter Sarah Jane, who can pass for white. Her father was, as her mother says, almost white. He was black. But so Sarah Jane can pass as white. And really central to this story is how racism operated to actually disrupt the black community itself. And it's devastating and heartbreaking. Has a hopeful ending. I'd never seen this, but it really is a really good movie. There are some things that are going to make the 21st century moviegoer cringe.
Yeah.
Some of the things we've been talking about.
Some things don't age well.
Yeah, some things don't age well.
You just have to respect that about the film.
And Lana Turner was quite the star at that time. She's well into her career, and she really is featured in the film, which also kind of operates as not just an entertainment issue, but an education issue. Hollywood was still pretty segregated.
Yes.
And casting directors, screenwriters, the studio system preferred white performers. And so you will see some things if you go to see this that you'll be like, well, this is a little bit cringe-inducing for the 21st century, but it still is a beautiful film with an awful lot to say, and using our star rating system, 1 to 5 stars, I'm giving this 4 stars.
Okay. So. Nice. Where and when is that playing?
That is going to screen on, I believe it's like 7 o'clock on Thursday. Okay. Go to DentonBFF.com and check on these. I didn't check on that screen, but I know it's
double check.
It's the opening night. It's the opening night film, and it's a really beautiful film. And Juanita Moore was just really spectacular. It really the entire cast is really quite good. It had Sandra Dee as Susie, and Susan Connor as Sarah Jane, and also, it's kind of nice to see a movie made in that time that really was about female relationships.
Yeah,
so. The other thing I wanted to touch on, another movie I wanted to touch on, is kind of more in the educational sort of vein. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of documentaries on the roster for Denton Black Film Festival. One that I'm really going to recommend to people is one called The Mayor's Race, and it's about an 80-minute film. This is the story of Marvin Ree's campaign for the mayor's race in Bristol, England.
Oh.
He made 2 runs.
Okay.
Now, he was born to a white mother, a single white mom in Bristol. His absent father was Jamaican. And so he grew up in Bristol's a kind of a hard scrabble place. And it also was a big slave port in England. So it has this very heavy, very lingering history of the transatlantic slave trade. Mm-hmm. But there's an awful lot of poverty, just an awful lot of disadvantage in Bristol. He grew up there. He knows what people in Bristol have experienced.
Right.
And so he makes the decision to run for mayor. And it's a German filmmaker who made this movie. It's a really good documentary. And it really shows what kind of race Marvin Rees had to run under the specter of not just Brexit and that tremendous political upheaval that started, in 2015, 2016 in England. But also the hostility toward immigrants really kind of ramped up, about 2 years ago in England. And even though, Marvin Rees is a, biracial native Bristol guy, he still kind of has to carry some of that hostility because people are people.
He's not going to win.
Yeah. So, but it's one of those stories that teaches you a lot that we didn't learn in the American school system. We didn't learn a lot about the transatlantic slave trade in England. I think we learned a lot about, the colonial sort of patterns and how that was applied in America. But it's a story, and the documentary really, really kind of places sort of the lingering pain and just sort of the disaffection of this poor community in England right alongside hope for the future, and that is it possible for people who grow up without a whole lot of means to actually be elected in a direct election system and then have a real hand in politics. And one thing I also noticed that Marvin Rees talks about is something we're hearing a lot in Denton about, that cities are kind of the new nations.
Yeah.
There are so many resources and so much vibrancy and activity in cities that I think we really used to associate with nations. It's like there's a lot of future building and policy making happening on the city level. So that is going to be screening 3:30 p.m. Sunday at Alamo Drafthouse. By this time, you also know that, yes, films will be screening here in beautiful downtown Denton at the Campus Theater, but also over in Town Center at the Alamo Drafthouse Cinema Denton.
Such a cool partnership. Yeah. I love that.
And I'm giving The Mayor's Race 3 stars. It's just really, really well produced, really, and I think an important story. And it's also yet another sort of piece of the world story that some of the questions that we're asking and muddling through here in America, Europe is going through this stuff too.
Right.
So it makes the world smaller and it makes your world a little bigger.
There's a lot of parallels.
And one thing I would let people know about the film programming for the film festival, a lot of the films are not rated ratings have a lot to do with distribution, and some of these films don't have a big distribution plan. So what I would do if you're a little bit unsure if you should take your children, just know that you might be getting some content that you're not expecting in the way of language and just in some of the content. We haven't screened absolutely everything, but I've been going to the Black Film Festival long enough to know that you're gonna see some really, really moving, entertaining, and just enlightening stuff. And you can see a single screening for about $10, and if you want to buy a pass, I think that's around $187, and you can purchase that on the film festival website, which is dentonbff.com.
Awesome. And then for you guys getting there, this year there's a really neat partnership we want to tell you guys about with DCTA, our transit system. And I also think that this is a great opportunity for some people to maybe learn how our city's connected. I think that we really have this impulse to get in a car.
Yep.
And I've been learning more about this, especially if you haven't been following. One of our reporters, Peggy Hinkelwolf, has been riding the bus to work on a pretty regular basis as part of her coverage of the DCTA. So they are offering free rides if you use the code DBFF19 as you board either the bus or the train. So what's cool is this works for the Connect buses. So the buses that you see around town, not the ones at the University of North Texas campus. This promotion is really targeted to people who are going to the film festival. So it works on the A train from Louisville up to downtown, when right at the transit center, you have access to the GDAC building, the Patterson-Appleton Center is right there. So is Stoke, where they're having some of the panels. And then from there, you can connect to most of the things that are going to be screened, and panels and discussions are happening along Route 7 or Route 4. And so I think that this is a really cool opportunity to maybe, if you're spending your day hopping around, just pick somewhere to park at the downtown transit center, park even at Med Park.
Yeah, there's a lot of parking at Med Park.
We recommend parking at Med Park, taking the train in, and then taking the bus. And this is a really great opportunity to kind of explore what some of the transit options are, because Route 7 really does go straight through downtown. So you can take that. And then that also goes all the way out to Alamo Drafthouse, as does Route 4. So it's an opportunity to kind of see what your transit system is like.
And it's free.
It's a free ride. You don't have to worry about parking, getting in your car, and managing the back and forth of it all, which can get hectic if you do have that pass and you're trying to hit all of the things you want to do, and you're bouncing around 4 or 5 different venues.
I would really, really recommend trying it. I'm going to try it this weekend. I'm going to try to keep my car out of downtown, because really, unless you really have some mobility issues, ending up at the downtown transit center, you're really close to downtown. I mean, it's maybe a 2-minute walk, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's like less. Yeah. It's like a quarter of a mile.
And if you've already got gas in your car, remember, you're not going to pay for the ride. Downtown Denton parking is at a premium on the weekends. So just keep in mind, if you decide that you're going to bring your car, really, you're going to have pay options, and then you're going to be doing like everybody else and kind of circling like a vulture. And, right now, if you're going to pay to park, which I do occasionally in downtown Denton, if you're going to be in downtown all day, paid parking can be a pricey option. So I say try it. I know it's not feasible for everybody, but I think DCTA is really trying to introduce Denton residents to our transit system.
Right.
And if you have a chance to try it and you're not going to have to figure out the ticketing and whatnot, why not? We're going to try it.
You just have to hop on, say DBFF19. I'm sure that even if you hop on and you say, I'm doing this for the Denton Black Film Festival promotion, I forgot what the special code is, I'm pretty sure they will let you get on the bus. Yeah. And yeah, it's going to be a kind of different way to get around town and explore some of these options. I know a lot of people are a little bit more hesitant to try buses and things like that. There's kind of an aversion to it if you're not really familiar with the system or how it works. So this is a really good foot in the door. and then you don't have to pay for parking and
have a few more dollars in your pocket to maybe do some shopping downtown, or maybe
grab a drink
or even dinner.
Yes.
Hey, why not go see a screening at the campus theater? Mm-hmm. Go talk about the movie over coffee or alcohol or some apps or something, and then go back.
Yeah. And then you're not in control of your car. Yep. So yeah. And then the other thing I was going to touch on in business news, I've been out of town, so I'm not ready. But I will say that I did come into a press release. A couple of people have been asking me about this. James Avery, which is a jeweler based out of Kerrville, and is really popular with men and women. You probably know some of the designs. They do a lot of kind of the hearts. They do a lot of like Celtic knots and crosses and really like simple rings, necklaces, charms, things like that. They're opening their very first Denton location at Razor Ranch Marketplace, which is the development that's on the north side. So not right next to like Alamo Draft House, but on that other side, in front of where Marshall's is just opened and a bunch of other stuff. So they open next Wednesday, January 30th. If you go to the opening through Wednesday, February 9th, you get entered into a raffle for a $50, $100, or $500 gift card. And they're going to start Wednesday with just operating with normal hours, which this is something nice. From Monday to Saturday, they're going to be open 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., which I'm really liking this trend of businesses staying open past 6.
Yes.
It's so much more accessible to the average shopper. It's a pain in the butt, and I always miss it at the end of the holiday season when hours shrink back up at some of our retail options. So I love a retail option that stays open past 6 p.m. And then they're also open on Sundays from noon until 6. So that grand opening is going to be next Wednesday. And there should be some more openings and announcements at both of those Razor Ranch developments, which it gets confusing. Razor Ranch Marketplace, for just a briefer, Marketplace is the one that's on the north side with Sam's Club and Walmart anchoring. And then on the south side is Razor Ranch Town Center, where we have our hotel and convention center in Alamo. And I'm expecting new announcements at both properties by the end of this quarter. But they are owned and managed by different companies. It was just both on land owned formerly by the Razor family. Mm-hmm. So they share a name. They have some cohesion. They used to be owned by the same company, but they don't anymore. So it gets confusing with Marketplace, Town Center. But just know where you're going. I find it easier to do north side, south side.
Right, yes.
The compass never changes.
The compass does not change. That's true.
So
good thinking.
So north side, Marketplace, James Avery next week. And that's about all that I have right now on business stuff. I'm sure I'll have more in the Sunday business section.
Yes, I know you will. I know you will. But yeah, it's festival season, so get after it and try the downtown transit.
Yes.
Try it.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We're here every Wednesday at 2 p.m. on DentonRadio.com and streaming across platforms, Facebook, YouTube, all of that stuff. And we will see you guys next week, Tuesday at next Wednesday. Good job. You can tell I've been on vacation. Next Wednesday at 2 p.m. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out DentonRadio.com for new Denton artists and where they're playing next. While you're surfing the internet, make sure you check out our friends Classic of Denton at ClassicofDenton.com.